And
Hi, my name is Trish, and in this video, I will be doing the Filipino Heroine book tag. This book tag was created by your Tita Kate, and it is inspired by badass Filipino women. I strongly suggest that you guys watch her video before or after mine because she gives really detailed summary of each heroine's life. So not only is it fun, but it's also educational. I will leave a link to her video in the description area below. When Kate tagged me for this book tag, I was so excited. I was so motivated to get out of bed and take a bath. Not that it's been days since I've taken a bath.
It's been 84 years.
I'm joking, I take a bath every day. Kids, take a bath. So I listed the names of the heroines here in my notebook, but my penmanship is basically chicken scratch, so if I get some of the names wrong, I'm really sorry. I'll try my best to read my own handwriting. It's been like this forever. Imagine what it was like for my teachers. So the first heroine in this list is Gabriela Silang. When I was in 5th grade, for our Buwan ng Wika, we had a special event where we got to dress up in traditional Filipino clothes or dress up as Filipino historical figures. And I went as Gabriela Silang, and my dad spent the whole night making this cardboard sword for me. So for Gabriela Silang, pick a book featuring a female leader, and for this, I chose Cry of the Icemark by Stuart Hill. I read Cry of the Icemark on my 4th year of high school. I was 15, and I think the main character was 14. Her name was Therian Freer, strong in the arm, Linden Shield, and she kind of reminds me of Merida from Brave. Therian left a very strong impression. Therian left a very strong impression on me because she was the first female character of her kind that I've read in a heavy fantasy. As I was saying, Therian was the first female character that I read where she was a central protagonist. She was really different from the other female characters I read in other fantasy books. She didn't use the bow and arrow, which was typical of female fantasy characters back then. Her role wasn't necessarily being the smart one. She was reckless, she was ruthless. Basically, she was a character with a role and characteristics that were usually designated to male lead characters in fantasy books. And so reading about this type of female character was just so refreshing to me. Therian's role in this first book is that she takes over her kingdom after her father dies, and it was a really new and powerful female representation for me, as I've never read anything like her before. I'm not saying that all the other female characters from other fantasy movies that weren't like her weren't empowering, but sometimes it doesn't hurt to see female characters be just as brash and fierce as their male counterparts. The second heroine in this list is Nieves Fernandez, a book featuring a female character who joined a revolution. And for this, I chose the Monster Severity DRG by V. Schwab. The female character in particular is Kate Harker. Kate Harker is my favorite female character of V. Schwab's. She was tough, she was morally gray, but she was portrayed so sincerely throughout the duology. Like, she wasn't above reproach, she wasn't above correction, she wasn't above admitting that she made mistakes. At the same time, she didn't shy away from putting her foot down and being strong in her beliefs and principles and doing what she thinks is right when she knows she's right. I just liked her from the start. She was just a very compelling character for me. The third heroine in this list is Nilsa Hillel, a book featuring a female journalist slash I could have said or, female journalist or writer. For this, I chose Poet X by Elizabeth Acevedo. I read Poet X last February for Black History Month. I've heard a lot of good things about Poet X. I was still not ready. The book was that good and more. I'm not a big poem person, but the way that book was written was just exquisite. Xiomara's character was relatable in so many ways. It was ridiculous. I very rarely understood and connected with a character to that extent. Reading about Xiomara, understanding her experiences because I've been through them myself, it was such a powerful experience for me. The fourth heroine in this list is Rosa Handson, a book with a female character who rises above personal tragedy. And for this, I chose The Strange the Dreamer duology. I chose this because all, if not most, of the characters in this duology have gone through hell and risen above it. Sometimes they weren't successful. They weren't able to really pull themselves out of the darkness, but there was always fight in them. And these characters are just so endearing and inspiring, and they bring out a lot of emotions for me. Just thinking about them is making me feel everything. I especially like how diverse the characters are in these duologies. There isn't just one or two or three types of women. There was this colorful cast of women, each one strong and determined and powerful in their own way, in their own right. And it's just a wonderful, wonderful representation of women.
Women.
I love this duology so much. The fifth is Glyceria Villavicencio, a book with a female character who comes from a wealthy background. For this, I chose The Winner's Curse trilogy by Marie Rutkoski. As I'm getting older, I'm getting more jaded about rich people and their lifestyles. But I have to be honest, Kestrel is one fictional character that I won't meet. She is another character who is so endearing to me. She was inspiring. She was compelling. She was complex. Her character was put in a spot where she had principles and beliefs that went against what she was raised to think and believe. And I really like that Marie Rutkoski didn't really shy away from pointing out and sometimes even emphasizing Kestrel's privilege throughout the trilogy. We actually get to read what she goes through and what she's spared from just because she's rich. There's a whole lot of things, very heavy issues that I can't really talk about here in detail. I think the trilogy handled it well. They portrayed the complexity of Kestrel's character well, and I really liked her. The sixth heroine in this list is Remedios Paraiso Gomez, a book with a traditionally feminine female character. And for this, I chose The Dark Descent of Elizabeth Frankenstein by Kirsten White. Elizabeth Lavenza, or her portrayal here in this retelling, was one of my favorites from last year. The book was faithful to its source. In Frankenstein, Elizabeth Lavenza's role was basically just being there. In this retelling, it sort of plays and expands on that concept. Like, Elizabeth she's not a fighter. She's cunning, she's scheming, she knows what people expect her to be and expect her role to be in society. She challenges that not by being the opposite, but by actually sort of claiming it as her own and using those expectations against people. Basically, she's this feminine female character whom everyone sort of underestimates, and she uses that to her advantage. She's a very morally gray, complex, very interesting character. And the fact that she was able to get her way most of the time by making people think that she's doing what they want her to be doing is a stroke of genius. The seventh heroine in this list is Melchor Aquino, a book with a female doctor, nurse, caretaker, or other healthcare provider. I chose two books for this. The first is Once Upon a River by Diane Setterfield. One of the main characters is Vida, who is a midwife. She was such a good character. The other is My Sister's Serial Killer by Oyinkan Braithwaite. Another really interesting character. Most of the times I read books with healthcare professionals. They're not just minor characters, but at the same time they're not that consequential. But in these two books, it was really nice to see more depth and complexity given to characters with these roles. The 8th heroine in this list is Josefa Llanes Escoda, a book with a female character who fights for women's rights. And for this, I chose Cersei by Madeline Miller. This retelling of Cersei's life basically tells Cersei's life as she's fighting to just be herself and live her life outside of the influence of the men who want to control her. I really like this book, and I really like how Cersei's character was given more what the fuck is that? As I was saying, I liked how Cersei's character was given more depth, more history, and more motivation than just being this woman who turned men into animals. Whether her intentions were something people agreed with or not. It was just nice to see this character that's usually portrayed very two-dimensionally. It was nice to see her more fleshed out. The 9th heroine in this list is Agueda Kahabagan, a book with a female character who fought fiercely during a war, and I chose the And I Darken trilogy by Kristen White. Lada's love scares me, but I love her at the same time. She's going to eat us all. And the 10th heroine in this list is Carmen Rosales, a book with a female character who is an actress. The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Who else was I going to choose? I am still reeling over this book. This book is just unbelievably good. Every time I think about it, I still don't know what to say just because I think that I'm going to mess things up the moment I start talking about it, because I really can't. It's really hard to articulate yourself when you really, really like something. It's much easier to talk about books you don't like, but when you love a book, Evelyn Hugo, the actress, the goddess, the icon. Need I say more? So that's it for this tag. I tried to make sense as much as I could. I really didn't practice any of my lines or any of my thoughts or words before filming this. I was kind of in a hurry because it's the end of March and I'm kind of late filming this. Thank you to Kate for tagging me. This was an amazing book tag. Until next time, folks, stay home and stay safe.